welcome back to the trading stream here at Sincere Crypto. My name is David. I'll be your co-host for today. I'm excited to be here. You know, missed the show on Friday, stupid internet. Missed the show on Saturday, also stupid internet. Had a really good show on Sunday, the Crypto and Chill show. So those of you that were there, I appreciate you guys. It's I was talking about that Sunday stream is good for my mental health. It's nice to get away from just charts and news, connect with the community on a more personal level, on a more business level. And so I had a lot of fun there. If you haven't seen our Sunday stream, please come check it out. We like to have a lot of fun, a lot of insight, and just a chill vibe, man. But today's show is all about technical and fundamental analysis. Well, let's take a look at where the markets are. BTC 82.4. Now, yesterday, I put let me share our Discord here. By the way, if you're not in our Discord, guys, I'm going to keep shilling this every single day. Join our Discord. And if you like trading, go here, click get VVIP access. Just follow this, pretty easy. And then you'll get all access to these right here. Scalp signals, swing signals, market analysis updates, and then our trade setups. Now, this is something that what was I looking at? I was here. This was the post I kind of highlighted. So bullish div on the Bitcoin 1 hour. We were coming in with higher lows. Or excuse me, lower highs. It's a lower high. That's a lower high. And then on the RSI, and I'm going to throw on a different RSI indicator here. You can see it a lot better. But we were getting some bullish divergence on the... Oh, I already had it on there. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's move this sucker up to the top. Market cipher B. Just for now, I'm going to let you go. Let's get rid of that. And so this is what I kind of saw on the 1 hour for BTC. As mentioned, 1 hour bullish div on the 1 hour, meaning we're getting lower lows on the price action. But on the RSI, we are getting higher lows, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low. And so this typically means that the sellers are losing steam. And you typically see a rebound in the markets. Now, I did note key support level also here at 81.6, which is where I saw that last kind of dip with BTC, and kind of seeing how the price had reacted leading up to this last move we had. Let me get rid of that. Is we came down here on a wick and we got a nice bounce. We came back here on a close, got an initial bounce and came right back, right? So we had around 4 bounces here going back to early morning Saturday. And so, okay, we're getting bullish div. Looks like we caught support, and it's happening at a very key level. And so this was a long. Now, of course, I was a little nervous. Long should be an easy play, but we're expecting lots of volatility tomorrow in anticipation of Liberation Day. And of course, the markets did what you did the reverse of what we all expected. We expected the markets to dump. The pre-market open last night, everything was down. Tech stocks were getting hammered. Bitcoin was trending down again. It was trading around the 85, 86K level. And my initial reaction was, God, the markets are going to open. And the Japan opened yesterday. Well, it was PM our time, but in Japan, their markets opened, the Nikkei index, and they were down. And so coming in, we're just like, it's got to be a down day, right? And honestly, for BTC to be trading at 82.5 after what I personally expected, and we can go to CNBC, take a look at how the stock market and Wall Street closed. So you see Dow Jones closed up 1%, 4 points. S&P closed up 0.5%, and NASDAQ was down almost 2% pretty much all day, and then it closed out essentially even. We did get a little bit of a spike in the VIX, the volatility index. Anytime you see that, prices do tend to drip down. Not drip down, but fall down. But for BTC at least, this is looking very good. Now, again, barring any crazy announcements, expect some volatility coming into Wednesday, which is Liberation Day, according to President Donald Trump. 81.5 seems to be a really good level to long Bitcoin at. And I'll be looking to do the same here again. Will we get back down to 81.5 again? I don't know. We zoom into the 10-minute. Potential head and shoulders here on the 10-minute that we're seeing on BTC. Let's take a look at market cipher B. Then we'll take a look at the rest of the markets. Money flow did cross into the red. So typically not good, but this is more of a lagging versus a leading indicator. Momentum obviously is still in the red, and then our VWAP level just crossed below the midline. So pretty bearish on the shorter time frames, but I think on the larger time frames, we can take a look at even like the 4-hour chart here. And again, this pattern ended up playing out. But again, you see bullish div on the 4-hour. You see bullish div on the 1-hour. We zoom into the daily. There is a little bit of a struggle here happening, my friends. You see these two spinning tops here, and these are happening at key levels, right? And so we might have to mark 82.5. Now, I know this isn't on my chart. Might be time to mark 82.5 as a pivotal level for BTC. Let's actually draw a box from the open/close of these last two candles and take that thing up to 82.5 right there. And we can extend this out. Let's go this way. We'll extend this out this way. We'll drop this sucker back down to an 82.6. And so that is a key level, it seems, because we're seeing a lot of indecision from the bulls and the bears. We've had a few bounces off 82.5. You see going back to Saturday around 5 a.m. Pacific time. And then back here on the retest, we ultimately failed for the swing high. And then we ultimately came back up. And now we're finding support on top of 82.5. More specifically, 82.3 would have been the bottom end of the range. So might be worth looking at a long here, but where I'd feel more comfortable longing BTC, especially in this current market, is going to be right at that 81.5 level. But again, there's going to be lots of volatility. We did actually put in a trade this morning on the show. You know, it's funny. I was going through the XLM chart, and I was talking about Polygon. I was like, you know what? Polygon, very similar structure to XLM, except Polygon broke to the downside, which is not supposed to happen. And I can actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go here. And on this side, let's pull up that Polygon chart so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Just in case you missed the morning show, and I didn't do this on the morning show either. Polygon daily, and I'm pretty sure, oh, I got rid of it. Okay. So we saw, again, something similar with Polygon here, where you kind of had this downtrending channel, this falling wedge pattern here on Polygon. And this wasn't the chart I was looking at. What chart was I looking at? Oh, that was the I think I was looking at the weekly. Yeah, I think I was looking at the weekly. Yeah, well, it was a weekly. We took the weekly here. And so let me just kind of redraw these lines here. Uh-oh. Don't freeze on me. I'm having PTSD on my internet issues here. And so you kind of had something like this, right? And we were tagging this trend line right here. This is kind of what I was looking at. And you take a look at Stellar Lumens, and very similar, right? Except for the big move to the upside on Polygon. But we had this kind of falling channel, falling wedge, and then we got to break out above, which is what you expect. With Polygon, if you zoom in, we broke below, and you can see we're kind of failing to reclaim this lower end trend line here for Polygon. And so I looked at the chart, and I was like, you know what? XLM at 28.55 or 25.88, that is a level that I had predetermined for a long. We had two limit orders set there. One of them filled that we ended up making money on. The other one did not fill. I think I lowered that entry point a little bit after the first one got filled. But either way, I was looking at this chart earlier today during the live show, and I was like, you know what? This thing is getting a nice bounce. And we got this other bounce here. This was back on Monday at 3 a.m. So coming into the show, we had already gotten a nice bounce, and I believe I bought it on one of these wicks here. And so just checking in our position where we were up. Where'd you go? There we go. So we actually were up like 5%. Now we're only up 1%. And so it is what it is with the market, but I feel pretty confident with XLM getting a nice bounce here, just like it did back again on earlier this morning on Monday. We take a look at market cipher B. This is on the 1 hour. Money flow is still red. We are getting, we're losing some momentum. We did get a green or a red dot on market cipher B as well. We're really hoping for a trigger wave after we got this anchor wave here, that we hit our oversold levels on XLM. But it's just if you're gonna enter into longs, you gotta take profit, even if it's at 12 to 20%. With the market sentiment now, I put in an XRP long trade at like 99 cents or $1. That thing went up to like $3, and I was like, you know what? This thing's gonna keep going. We're in a bull market, and eventually everything came falling back down. And so when the sentiment is kind of crap, which it is now, don't forget to take profit and bring your TP levels down. It's not always about getting that 80% or 150% profit. Even a 20% profit is really, really good. With that being said, I am going to be introducing something new on the show. So I'm going to be doing I'm calling this segment Scalp My Portfolio. Now, what does it mean? Every trading show, I'm going to ask you guys to give me your 5 top holdings, dollar value wise, not how many coins, but the amount of money it is worth. If you want to share, of course. So 1 through 5, Bitcoin, Cardano, whatever that list is. And I'm going to pick one person's top 5, and we're going to go through the chart of each. We're going to take a look and see if we have any scalping opportunities. Now, why are we going to scalp? Well, if you find a good scalping opportunity, you can put in a trade, take that money, and then add more to your bag if that's something you're bullish on. Obviously, it would be, because if you weren't, then it wouldn't be in your top 5. And so I'm starting that today. So with that being said, if you want to participate, put in your top 5 holdings in your portfolio. You don't got to put the amount or how much you hold, just what is in your top 5 based on how much money it is worth. And I will pick one person, and I'll look through the 5, and we'll see if we find any scalping opportunities. So Scalp My Portfolio is officially live. If you want to participate, please go ahead and drop those in there. I will come back to that in a second. I want to go back to this, though. So we covered BTC, ETH at 1825. ETH, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe ETH we got a wick down. Yeah, we got that wick back down to 1750 on Ethereum. Things were looking pretty good. Same thing here. A lot of indecision in the market here on ETH. The ETH versus Bitcoin chart looks pretty damn ugly, honestly. And getting a break below this trend line was not good. And we can actually, I am curious, how far off of our 200-day moving average are we? Yeah, that's a big gap. We're a 50% pump away from reclaiming our 200-day moving average on Ethereum. Yeah, it's not good. You see the failed retest here. This was back on the 23rd of February. We failed and we came straight down. I mean, this was a massive rejection. This was a 27% rejection off our 200-day moving average. And so these little patterns that we're finding in the chart, in the ETH chart here, this expanding megaphone kind of rising wedge pattern, that broke and fell to the downside. And honestly, guys, 1760 looks like a pretty safe place to long Ethereum, right? We take a look at how has price reacted 1, 2, 3 times. We've got a nice bounce. The first one, this was back on the 11th of March. And I'm just going to take the 1765 level. And just in the one candle from wick to close was a 9% daily candle, 9%. And the more recent time here, which was just yesterday on Sunday, got a 3% bounce. And so when I find levels like this for ETH and for anything, I like to keep things simple. So I'm going to go in here. I'm actually going to put in a limit order here on ETH. So we're going to go ETH. This one, I'll go a little higher leverage. I'll probably go 12x leverage on ETH. And then we're going to set our entry at 1766. We'll go a little bit above that 1765.88. So we'll go 1766 for Ethereum. We'll go 1K. Limit order 12x isolated on Ethereum. We're going to go long. Good to cancel. All right, perfect. Okay. So now we have an open order of an ETH long at 1760. And where am I looking to take profit? I think here would be a great place. 1829 to 1830. Not that big of a move, but with the 12x leverage we have, we should make a little bit of money. I just don't have any confidence in ETH and coming back and making a major play. Not just yet. Because just the macro is just screwed and the ETH has just been taking an absolute beating. We're going to zoom out to the lower time frames here. And you can see, you know what else I'm seeing? I'm seeing a lot of head and shoulders patterns playing out on the lower time frames on a lot of altcoins. Here you have one on ETH. You have your shoulder, your head, your shoulder, and there would be your neckline. And it looks like that 200 MA on the 5-minute chart is kind of giving us a little bit of support here. Take a look at Market Cipher B. We did get a green dot, which is a buy signal here on Market Cipher B. RSI, though, is trending down. You want to see this thing kind of start to trend up if you're looking for a long move. But it looks like, again, $1,800, our 200 EMA ribbon on the 5-minute. You can see how perfectly this has been resistance, and maybe not so perfectly, but this is how the support as well for ETH. And then just looking at the 1 hour, just kind of see some macro trend. And let's get rid of these ugly ass brushes. We can just get rid of them altogether. Okay, there we go. So ETH looks like we're kind of range bound here. And you know, last time we were kind of, let's mark out this level here. By the way, guys, I'm working on getting some music in here as well. That way it doesn't feel as quiet when I'm kind of thinking in my brain here. So that is the level we want to look at. And let's expand this sucker out. Let's go to the 4 hour. Let's go here. Let's get rid of this. Let's go to the 12 hour. Expand this out. I mean, we're talking about levels that we haven't seen on ETH since 2023, okay? Now, in 2023, though, and you can see here, going back to March of 23, and I'll even do this, I would like to pull a volume profile here. Let's go from here to here, and let's see this sucker here. So this volume profile that we pulled from Wednesday, March 15th through Thursday, August 17th, and we're going to zoom in and you take a look at where price action is happening, and I'm going to hide some of these trend lines. There you go. And we'll hide that one. And let's hide these as well. So you can see at our POC going again back to 2023, we saw some consolidation here, tons of wicks, and this is ETH on the 12 hour, okay? ETH on the 12 hour, our POC. So that would be the first level that I'd be looking at, which is around $1,890 for ETH. And so once this order fills, depending on what the volume looks like, I'll go back in and I'll probably put my take profit right below this POC here at 1887 for Ethereum. But again, on the higher time frames, you are seeing some indecision in the market. It's like ETH wants to fly. People want to buy ETH, but they're scared. I mean, this like if we were to isolate the candles, okay, this would have been a perfect reversal. And so far, I guess you can argue it kind of has been. Right? You have this hammer candle at the end of a long downtrend. These wicks are getting a lot bigger. The bodies are getting smaller. And so whatever trend that came before this, which was a downtrend, is losing steam. And so you see it across the board. It's just, there's just no like a kick in the ass or like a shot of B12 in the ass. I don't know what to call it. There's no, like, we need a little oomph in the moves, you know? All right. See how many of you put okay, we got a few of you, 8X and Lammy backs. All right, okay. I promise I will come back to that, and I'll pick one person, and we'll do the scalp my portfolio. I do want to take a look at some on-chain metrics and statistics. Let me first take a swig of water. All right. So these are net inflows and inflow and outflow. So this is on the daily. So your inflows, BTC saw around 74 million of inflows. BNB saw around 5 million, ETH 25.3, but I think the net is going to be negative. BTC 156 million flowed out of Bitcoin. Solana 35 million flowed out. XRP 16. And BNB's net looks like it was around $4 million of outflows. Now we take a look at what is smart money doing. Now this is from Nansen AI. So what is smart money trading? Now I got this on all caps, but we can look at micro, small, mid, and large caps. We're going to keep it all caps, and we're looking at 7-day flows. What are they trading? Number one is Demo. Never heard of Demo or Dymo. The second one is Aave. Definitely heard about Aave. Now they did just integrate with what Chainlink is doing with their SVR. So all that MEV liquidation from the MEV liquidations, all that money, which is millions of dollars. Some of that, I think it's 35% or 65% is going to get funded back into the Aave protocol and to, I believe, the Aave holders or the ones that participate in governance. And with that being said, let's take a look at an Aave chart. I'm curious, how many of you hold any Aave in your portfolio? I am curious. I'm curious to know if any of you do. So let's start on the higher time frames for Aave. So our local high so far is around 396. Looks like we are catching a little bit of support here. And this would be my kind of make or break area for Aave. It would be, start there and we'll go here. I think this is a key level here. So my ship it, let me go find some money. Let me go cash in the coins that I have in my 5-gallon water jug and buy Aave would be right around $133. Going back to the 2020 cycle, this is our last stop, our last kind of retracement before we had that massive breakout. And you can see during the bear market, we tried to reclaim this level, but kept getting rejected. And then once the tides changed, we finally got in here. We spent a little bit of time in this zone. And then before that 2024 breakout, we had one more retest and then it was off to the races. So we can get Aave back to around $133, $136. I will be a happy camper, a happy buyer of Aave. Now that we have that level put out there, let's take a look on the lower time frames. So market cipher B is actually looking pretty good on the daily. So our momentum waves, depending on where this one lands. So we're losing some momentum on this bearish move here that we have on Aave. We did get a red dot printed here. We take a look at market cipher A. So this is just nothing that tells us, hey, reversal might be in play here. These MAs are still pretty wide. You want to see them start to get tight and twist, kind of like we did here, where we saw that uptrend go to a downtrend. And there's multiple examples. I'm not going to go through them all here. But it looks like, at least from market cipher, what the indicator is telling us, we might be seeing a reversal in the trend change. And then we can just go down to the lower time frame to try to confirm any bullishness. So I don't know if you guys see what I'm seeing here. We can actually probably go to the, not the 20, the 15 minute. Little bit of a, actually the 21 minute looks good here. A little more clear. See, inverse head and shoulders here. Yeah. You guys like that? Break to the upside. Let's go. And so this would be kind of your neckline at around $160. Should break to the upside. We take a look at what market cipher B says again. This actually might be, okay. So if we can get a green dot here, and of course it's on 21 minutes, so we still have 12 and a half minutes. This could be our anchor trigger wave scenario to enter into a long position. So this is what I'm going to be watching out for. I'm hoping this happens before I stop the show. It could happen. And so if you're not familiar with kind of this strategy on market cipher B, you get an anchor, you get what's called an anchor wave, kind of this momentum wave shifting and getting a green dot well below our trigger 2 line, which is going to be this dash line, and then our OS1 solid, which is going to be your solid gray line. But then you want to look for a trigger wave. It's going to be a much smaller wave with a green dot as well. And typically, it's been back tested and it's pretty damn accurate on good entries and exits if it happens to the opposite. And RSI is trending up, so there's some buying pressure coming in for Aave. I'm going to be keeping my eye on this. If we get it, those of you that have Market Cipher B, if you don't, it's well worth the money. We don't have an affiliate code. Just go to marketcipher.com and just get it. It's pretty badass. It's pretty awesome. It's plug and play. Unless you want to mess with the inputs yourself, I just plug and play it. But we can get a green dot here on this momentum wave. This would be a really nice entry on Aave, and then we would look to take this thing up to around 170 bucks. If we just drop a horizontal ray here. So this was our kind of high we had on Saturday before we had this big spill off down to a wick low around $151. This is also where we got our bounce before we lost it. So 170 seems to be a key level here for Aave. We can even zoom out and take a look how price has reacted. It's, of course, on the super low time frame. You can see inverse head and shoulders coming in here as well. This is another example. Inverse head and shoulders break to the upside. And so that would be my first TP. Entering at around 159, 160, depending on if we get that trigger wave with the green dot, and look to take some profit at around 170. Again, if the market conditions were different and macro wasn't so spooked, I'd feel more comfortable taking it to go into the higher time frames. Let's say the 8-hour and scoping out some resistance areas, which I'd look at and say, oh, you know what? 186, maybe even 193, but there's just no momentum in this market. There's no velocity. There's no follow through. It's just little spurts. It's like the engine and then turns over. So that's what I'm looking at. Aave, we'll be keeping an eye on this. I'm actually going to keep this chart open and we'll come to this and see if we get that trigger wave on Market Cipher B. Some of the other what's smart money is trading. Athena, 426,000 over the last 7 days of inflows. And then here as well, what is smart money holding? Okay. Vine, I'm not going to do TA on Vine, but this was pretty much a meme coin. Everyone was speculating on the resurgence of Vine and it's coming back. And oh my God, everyone's going to make money. Elon's going to buy it, created a token. And then I think Elon mentioned something about Vine. And so this thing blew up. But this one too, we can go through caps. Let's take a look at small caps. So what is smart money holding in small caps? And we'll take a look. Balance of change over the last 24 hours. Again, Vine number one. Nothing else that I really see here that I am familiar with or have in my portfolio. Let's work our ways to the mid caps. Solana. A lot of ETH plays here, right? Mocha, Zent. No idea what the hell those are. And then for the large caps, what has smart money been accumulating over the last 24 hours? Although it's pretty minuscule, but number one is MakerDAO. Again, this is a project that I've kind of put on everyone's radar. Not to say that maybe it wasn't on your radar, but something I've been talking about is stablecoin yield, DeFi. You want to have exposure to that. Convex, Curve, MakerDAO. There's a bunch of other ones. Asymmetry Finance, although that's more on the super speculative side of things. But this just kind of gives you an idea of what is smart money doing. Okay. What are they doing? What are they holding? And if you guys have Nansen, feel free to check that out. All right. I want to do the scalp my portfolio. So I'm going to go ahead and pick one person. Who the fudge is messing? Yeah, leave my boy Poor Man alone here, guys. Okay. I'm going through the list here. Okay, let's see. The first person I believe that put anything in there was Benjamin. Bitcoin, gold, silver. Link card, sweet card, alchemy. True. HPR, Litecoin, VT. Sol, Sui, AVAX, Hondo, ADA. XRP, Theta. You know what? Let's go with Bearded Mac Mike. Okay, Bearded Mac Mike. XRP, and let me copy paste this so I don't forget. All right, Bearded Mike, I'm going to look at these one by one. Let me pull up my notepad because my short-term memory loss will tell me that, hey, David, you just said all 5 of them. There we go. Okay, so we got XRP, Theta, ADA, IC Peta, and Sui. Okay, so those are his top 5. His top 5 is XRP. Let me put it up here. This is top 5. XRP, ADA, and let me pull this up. XRP, Theta, ADA, ICP, and SWI. So let's take a look. Let's start with his number 1, which I already forgot, is XRP. Are there any scalping opportunities on XRP? Let's start on the higher time frame for XRP. I did have this volume range profile. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. So the first thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to pull up Market Cipher B. We're going to get rid of this one. Nothing here on Market Cipher B on the higher time frame. Now we are coming to a pretty important level here for XRP, and I'll drop another SR level here, which is going to be right around $1.97. Okay, and actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a bar. We're going to go here. So $1.97 to around $2.04. I think that's a great scalp for XRP. That's on the daily. If we zoom out to the 4 hour, we take a look. Already gotten one bounce here. Not quite yet on the other one, on the second potential bounce. See if we see any patterns unfolding here for XRP. You have a little bit of a, I guess you can call this a falling. Oh, that's pretty ugly. So what you can see here for XRP, let's get rid of those and let's throw on. Let's get rid of that. Well, maybe you got a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders play coming in here. Let's take a look. Let's go to my brush tool. So here's your shoulder, here's your head, and we're waiting for a potential shoulder to form here. And then enter in on the breakout and on the lower time frame for XRP on the 1 hour. We lost that opportunity for a trigger wave here. So for XRP, I'd say anything, but if you can get this thing between $1.97 and $2.03, that is where I'd be looking at for XRP. Now the next one was Theta. Let's take a look at Theta, something I was super bullish on. Not as much anymore. I'm still bullish on it. I still have a little bit in my portfolio, but all right, this is Theta on the daily. I want to zoom into Theta on the weekly. Let's mark out our value area for Theta. I'm going to take this. We're going to go, let's go to the bottom end of that right there. Bam. And we'll go to the daily here. Okay. So the top end of our box is sitting right at 88.4 cents, and the bottom end of our box is sitting right at 55.2 cents for Theta. You can see how price has reacted historically. Really nice bounces on that 56-cent level, but I don't think we're going to get that anytime soon for Theta at least. Pretty big downtrend here for Theta. We did get that kind of that bear flag rising wedge pattern that broke to the downside. And I mean, we're 80 cents is so this one right now would be in the running for me for a scalp. And again, on the daily, waiting on that trigger wave to hit, maybe get a green dot in there. Let's zoom out to the 4 hour. Let's actually go to the 8 hour. Nothing on the 8, 7. Let's work our way to the lower time frames. Bunch of green dots here. And you see money flow is starting to trend back up, although we haven't gotten a crossover yet. And haven't gotten a crossover on our VWAP as well on the 1 hour for Theta. But we can see, take a look at if we have any potential patterns unfolding here for Theta. Nothing I really see here. But on the higher time frame, so Theta would be, I would put Theta number 1 over XRP. The next one you have here, my friend, is going to be ADA. So let's actually write this down. Theta long at 80 cents. We'll get rid of that. Let's take a look at Cardano. Ooh, 66 cents. Ugh. We'll get rid of that. Yeah, I mean, so this is a pretty pivotal level here, around 66 cents. 67.5 cents for ADA. You can see how important this level has been. Now, We did lose it once, and we spent a few days down here, and then we had that massive catapult, but that massive catapult was off the news of the strategic reserve. And so losing this level for ADA, and then kind of seeing that volume increase, at least on the daily candle here, I would expect to get rejected at 67.5 cents. And you can see on the lower time frame, we already got that one rejection here, right? This was a rejection, and I would assume we get something similar here as well. And so for me, ADA, maybe a short at 67.5 cents, although we might be coming into potentially another forming head and shoulders pattern, inverse head and shoulders here. If we get that, if we get this push to the upside, come back down, create a higher low, and then look to break this trend line and make our way back up to that 71 to 75 cent level. So ADA, I wouldn't really put it in there. Maybe a short at around 67.5 cents. If we get back there, the next one he had was ICP. Let's take a look at Internet Computer Protocol, which, by the way, we're in talks with ICP to be working with them on a more permanent, consistent level. And so we're super excited for that. Let's pull up an ICP chart here. ICP daily. Okay, so a potential reversal coming here, which is good. I'm going to put in a higher low. That's also very good. Let's zoom out on the daily for ICP. Let's actually go to the weekly. Let's identify our value area for ICP, and then we'll work our way down to the lower time frame. So I would like to go here for ICP. Okay, so that is my value area box for ICP, okay? Is between $3.50 and $7.50. Now, that's a pretty big gap. It's a 2x gap, okay? But you take a look at what has price done here. Up until the beginning of February, we've had really nice bounces off of this $7.30 level, but we did get a break below on ICP. If we zoom into the daily, we take a look. Potentially another trigger wave coming here for all market cipher B. And so we'll see how this plays out. This is on the daily time frame here for ICP. If we can get a green dot here on market cipher B, this would be our anchor trigger wave. And depending on the volume and obviously working our way down to the lower time frames, it might be a really good entry for ICP. But again, that is not something definitively I'll sit here and say, you know what, this is something we should enter now. You should take that scalp, try to add to your ICP position if that is exactly what you're looking for. This to me would be a wait and see. And you can look at the lower time frame, the 1 hour market cipher B. You can see the money flow is starting to trend back up, which is good. And RSI is also starting to trend back up. So a little bit of a micro uptrend for ICP. And again, very similar patterns across the board on almost everything as you have these inverse head and shoulders forming, and then a break above that neckline. I'd be wary of that $5.65 level if you're going to enter into a long position on ICP. So ICP for me is a wait and see. And the last one you had on here, my friend, is SWE. Now, I'm happy SWE's in here because this was an article that came out today. 150 million of SWE is going to be unlocked. This is something that SWE does first of every single month, is they release around 2.5% of their market cap, depending on the price of the token. So around 80 million tokens. And you can see here on CryptoRank where that money is going, where those tokens are going. And a vast majority is going to people, contributors, and people that have donated or have invested in the project. Now, I've showed this SWE chart multiple times. And we've looked at the price action leading up to and directly after the token unlocks. I'm not going to do it again because I've done it multiple times. But you typically see a little bit of a fall going into maybe a day or two after, and then we see a pretty big rally. And so we're kind of already there on the little bit of a fall. We did break below this rising channel, although I thought this was going to get invalidated. We came back and in 2 candles fell completely through, failed on a retest. So for SWE, let's take a peek. So we kind of already have our value area identified, so we can work our way down to the lower time frames. You can see here that rejection we had on SWE. Now we are making lower highs on the 4 hour chart for SWE, but again, potential head and shoulders coming in, or inverse head and shoulders. Market side for B, we're actually gaining momentum on the downtrend. So nothing there as far as any divergence that we're seeing. And we can even go into the lower time frames, maybe the 21 minute. Let's take a look. Oh, this was our anchor trigger wave here. So this would have been a great entry on this trigger wave. $2.22, $2.31. But right now for sweep on the lower time frame, it looks like we're coming into, so we had this kind of falling channel, right? We had this falling channel that broke to the upside, which we expected to do. We didn't get that retest, but we're kind of having something similar now. And again, this is on a lower time frame. You have this falling channel on SWE. And I feel more comfortable if we were at the lower end of this trend line here. And so if we get back to around $2.24.5, I think this is a great scalp opportunity. So we're not too far away. We're about 2 pennies away from this one. And then the other one we had at 80 cents for Theta. And so for me, if you're looking to scalp your portfolio, I think Theta is a play there. Take like, I don't know, an 8 to 12x long position on Theta at around 80 cents and look at those TP profit or take profit targets that we had that I kind of showed earlier. And so that would be what I would scalp out of the top 5 in your portfolio. And of course, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not saying that you should do it. But if it was me and I had to pick one of those 5 to try to scalp and take some profit and add to my bag, that is exactly what I would do, is I would go ahead and scalp ADA. And so, yeah. Interesting. Okay, I'm just checking in on the chat here, seeing how everyone's doing. ICP were great in the next bull market. Good morning, Jay Violet. Big shout out to all the moderators in here. Appreciate every single one of you. What's up with these mods banning the chat? I don't think our mods do that. And if they did, I'm sure they have a really good reason. All right, guys, that'll do it for the show today. Thank you all very much for tuning in. If you're not joined part of our Discord, please go ahead and do so, especially if you enjoy trading. You'll get a lot of trading signals, scalp signals, swing signals, and market analysis every single day. With that being said, guys, I love you so much. We'll see you on tomorrow morning's show. Until then, peace.